Oh, good morning. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are up by the Iroquoia Conservation area. So this is up on the mountain overlooking the Dundas Valley area. It is a very heavily socked in area with trees. And right now, as fall is officially starting, the trees are starting to change from the vibrant green. We're starting to see a bunch of yellows start popping in everywhere. And especially a little bit of reds on the tops of the trees and on the tops of other spots. I'm gonna circle the camera around right now so you guys can see the colors. You can see right through there. So I can zoom in a little bit. You see the red starting to change on the tops of the trees. Oh, it's gonna look so perfect when, as soon as the rest of the trees start changing a lot more of the red, we get more of that deep, almost magenta, vibrant red color. The browns at the bottom of the tree, it looks so cool, especially with all the greens behind it. I just don't think I can get far enough away from it to actually frame up a shot over here. Because you see how the yellow is kind of almost dying in the foreground, and then behind it you just see a little bit of yellow but still mostly green from absolutely being vibrant and full of life. So I'm going to walk on the other side over here and see how it looks from this side. There's always trash up here. Wrangler jeans, really? Wow. All right, from this angle it's a little bit more covered up. Oh, that's fine. This was the first time in a couple of days as well. It actually rained last night. So some of the trees have a little bit more moisture into it, which I'm hoping will add a pop of contrast. The sky is completely clouded in though. I was thinking of doing some more landscape type photography, but when there's very few clouds, I decided to come into the forested area and kind of ride around and see if we can find anything. This is my very first time ever actually riding around this specific area too. So I'm kind of scouting out this spot and seeing if I find anything we like. And then of course, we're gonna stop and photograph it. Well, there is a few clear patches in the sky I'm seeing now. There's a tiny bit of a blue patch, but I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't rain. It's only like a 20% chance, but that's fine. I have my poncho in my bag just in case. And we can weather the storm. All right, I'm gonna continue riding down the trail a little bit. And we're gonna look for any compositions we find. And as well as the 403 is really close behind me and I can hear the traffic a lot. Like I'm hearing trucks and cars just whipping by. So I want to go a little bit further on and hopefully it quiets down a little bit. So there is a power line up there on the left-hand side, which, yeah, I'm not crazy about that. So some of the pictures from over here are just kind of just meh. Not to say that they don't look nice, it's just power lines being in the backdrop, it does sort of, it doesn't look great. I do like this little hill on the side of us though, this berm. It completely, you can't even hear the 403 traffic now, it's perfect. It's drowning out everything. Oh, we got some walnuts on the ground. Holy. Wow, look how close the houses are to us. Awesome. Oh, more walnuts all over the ground. Holy cow. They are literally landmines. If there was just a little bit of mist too in this little forest beside us, it would look so nice. The amount of separation you'd be able to see would be incredible. Look at that contrast, the red, the just deep, deep red, just perfectly set up here. Let's see if we can pull off over here. All right. No, somebody's not happy and they had to show that. See if I can zoom in a little bit more. Perfect. Okay, hopefully that should be enough. Now, I got my camera out because whenever I'm walking around like this, I like being able to frame up my shot. I like actually being able to look in through the viewfinder because I want to make sure I can eliminate the power lines over there. Or it could be internet, I don't really know. But I want to see if I can at least eliminate that. So I do like the red in the foreground, kind of leading you right up to the tree. And as long as I have enough room right here to set up my tripod, I think this actually might be a good spot. Now it is gonna be a little bit hard for me to set you guys up in a way so you can actually see me, but we'll play this by ear. I think this actually might be a good picture. So there are some very moody skies right now. The cloud cover is very dense right over top. So at least the backdrop does have a nice atmosphere to it. And you have these dotted reddish color little brushes right in front of us, and it really draws your eye down into it, as well as the even deeper red that there is on the tree. I'm not sure about this photo though. I started over there and I was kind of looking at it, but it just kind of looked a little bit too flat. Whereas here you actually have a lot more of that red kind of drawing you into it. All right, well, hopefully that is a little bit of a better angle so you guys can actually see me a little better. As I was talking about how you can see how these red kind of bushes sort of lead your eye down into the valley, like in front of me a little bit, and then right up to the tree where you see the red, those vines sort of wrapping around it again, and how the green and the yellow all around kind of just pop out a bit more. And you see the even darker green tones back there where the trees have not even started to change yet. Wow. This is the first time in a little while that we've had really thick cloud cover where there's almost no direct sunlight. I see a little bit peeking through the trees over there, but the foliage is still so dense. Very little light is actually coming through. It's very soft and diffused. Where we are leveled right now, because we're a little bit too close and I literally cannot go back any further. And I can't move over any there more because you guys are sort of there. So we're gonna have to take two pictures for this. One, I'm gonna cut off a very small portion of the top of the tree. And then number two, I'm gonna angle the camera back a little bit. I'm gonna have to incorporate a little bit more of the sky, but I'm gonna get the whole tree in frame. Now, there is a small little breeze. I'm sure you guys can see it very slightly moving. So I'm gonna wanna increase my shutter speed. So I'm thinking F2 or F2.8 so I can throw out the background just a little bit out of focus, as well as the foreground, so that red kind of leads your eye right into the tree. All right, there's way too much shake. So we are gonna have to put this up to a 10-second timer. Though there is a bit of cloud cover right now, it does look very kind of too gray. Very, I don't want to say a dull light, but it's a very flat light. This one we're going to take with just the foreground, as I was talking about. Just the foreground, a bit more of it. We're perfectly level across. Perfect. So we got no vibrations. Now we're just going to change the composition a little bit, just so we can incorporate the full tree. See how for the full, it also brings in a lot from both of the sides. Whereas if I go to a 16:9 crop, it only takes out just a little bit on the top and the bottom, just over here. It just removes a little bit from that side. So we're at 1/200th of a second, F2.8. And I'm about half a stop underexposed because I can bring the shadows back up later in Lightroom. But the sky, even though it is a little bit, there is a lot of cloud cover, it is still very bright in the background of it. And I don't want it to be too powerful. So we took two different photographs for this one with a bit more of the sky in it and one with a little bit more of the actual foreground element into it, drawing you into it. So I'm gonna insert the photo now. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Well, the breeze is picking up a bit more, so we're gonna ride back down the other way and start finding different compositions a bit closer to the brow. So we're looking into the main tree over there, the center one. The bark on it looks really weathered. Like it just looks really aged. Like it's been here for probably about 100 or so years, I want to say. But the bark on the outside, the texture of it, it's really rough and gruff looking. And it actually looks like you can almost feel it and you just know how terrible it would feel, like just how bumpy and just how just almost tactile it would be. But from the tree right here beside me, there is a branch that cuts in right overhead. So when I'm using this in the full frame, you see the branch kind of cut across the halfway point, and it kind of detracts from the image, kind of a little bit. So I'm gonna take a couple different photographs. One of them I'm gonna put all the way down to the lowest setting, see if I can get through it just to the tree. We are at F11, 1/4 of a second, ISO 100. We're underexposing it by about half a stop because the sky, although it is a little bit gray, there are a little bit of white patches opening up in the clouds that are kind of lifting up the exposure a little bit. So just because of that, I'm gonna bring down the highlights a little bit more. And later on in Lightroom again, I can just raise back up the shadows. That's not a problem. All right, I'm gonna go in now and get focus. Now, because I don't really need a very much depth of field, I'm gonna go back down to f4.5 and then just increase the shutter speed a bit more. So let's say 1/40th of a second. Here's how the composition looks. And there's the branch going across it that I was talking about. Let's get all this crap off the screen. So it does have a little bit more of the foreground. So one of the things I was thinking of doing is by punching into 1.6, we'll take that picture, still undercompensated by one stop, of course. Now we're gonna go back to full frame. And now this one is at f4.5. I'm not sure about this photograph though, not until I at least get back in Lightroom and I'm able to look at it and have a little edit. Well, I'm not 100% sold on this photograph. I don't know if it's gonna be in the video or not. No, of course I'll put it in. It looks very cool. The texture on the actual bark, it does look very interesting. But the grass all around it as just being dead green and then like a few like extra long stalks around. The foreground interest is really bland right now. If there was maybe a bit more color in the trees, or if the area was a bit better lit, like if I had maybe more light streaming in from this side, it would be a completely different story. The problem is though, is this week has been almost all rain, and today is the only day where it rained this morning, but we had a couple hours in the early morning / a little bit in the afternoon where it hopefully shouldn't rain. But then the rest of the week it's all raining. So I don't know how long I want to wait out here. We've been out for over an hour and a half now riding around. Well, I'm gonna wait definitely for a few minutes. I want to see if any of the clouds change. Well, as I was waiting for the other light to kind of clear up a little bit, or pop up, sorry, for the tree over there, I found these two trees that are almost perfectly kind of parallel to each other. And then through the distance, you actually see unnaturally straight trees, as well as a bit of the red wrapping around the trees. You see a couple of them right in front of us. So I'm gonna try, first of all, I'm gonna look at 16:9, but it kind of takes away too much of the actual trees because I want to have a little bit of the trees on this side to actually kind of draw you into it. I was able to use these trees here as almost like a little window, kind of like to draw your eye into it. And with everything being green and a little bit of yellow, the two trees that are almost unnaturally straight, they have red also wrapped around them. Some of the red leaves, sorry. The vines themselves are sort of wrapping around the tree. And it adds a really cool contrast to it. So I'm gonna zoom in, check my focus, it's perfect. So we were at f4.5 at 1/50th of a second. Actually, we're gonna go to 1/60th of a second, f4.5. And then just to make sure there's no shake, because we were almost at the maximum height, we're gonna leave the 10-second timer on and let it count down to stop all the vibration. Now, as you can see, there is a fair amount of wind still up right now, like the breeze is still hitting us. So I'm gonna wait a few seconds. When the breeze dies down, hopefully it should be just the perfect time to take the photograph. And then once you zoom in enough, you see how you see the wood on both sides kind of framing it up. And then you just see the perfect pop of red right there in the background. But I don't want it too far back like this, because then it's much more of a distraction. Whereas when I bring it into just this, you know there's two trees on the sides kind of framing the shot, showing you this in the background. We are at 1/60th of a second at f4.5. We are focused in on the middle tree, not the one on the furthest right, but the middle tree, which is basically in parallel to where some of the main red actual vine is that wrapped around that tree. We're gonna compensate it by just one stop. Again, so we're at 1/100th of a second, f4.5. 10-second timer, counting it down. Breeze is really picking up again. But hopefully the shutter speed being fast enough, it should freeze all the motion. we finished this picture right here. I'm gonna insert it in the video now so you guys can see how it looks. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this photograph. Now, this camera is dying and so is this one, so I'm gonna have to take some time to charge them. All right, so it's been about, I wanna say 40-ish minutes now. I'm gonna have to leave soon. So the light has changed a fair amount. The clouds are opening up a little bit. The sunlight is streaming through. Now the backdrop is being bathed in sunlight, but the tree itself is still a little bit shadowed with maybe like a beam or two kind of hitting around the tree randomly. Now, I don't want all of the tree. I only want from the base up. So I'm going to zoom in right now, check my focus. Make sure that is good and sharp. So we're at the 1.6x crop, just to kind of punch in a little bit because the branch running up top from that tree, it really interjects in the photo. And then by punching into 1.6, I'm just able to crop it out of the frame, but able to keep more of the actual subject tree and a lot less of the background in focus. So up here is the branch I'm talking about again, how it kind of just sticks in the frame and just it kind of draws too much attention to the fact that there's a tree over there. Whereas if we pull it down just a little bit, here, I'll move it over here so you can actually see. If we pull it down just a little bit, all we're introducing now is just that actual composition. So there we are, focused right in on the tree, quite severely. And then when we go back to the full frame, you see how the branch is just kind of cutting across the top, and you can tell that there's clearly something else over there that kind of draws your eye away from it. But if I punch into the 80 millimeters, or 1.6 times my 50 millimeter lens equals 80 millimeter, it zooms us in just a little bit past that. Now, unfortunately, you are throwing away some of the megapixels when you do this, but the upside of it will be is that it kind of cuts out a lot of the distractions. And because I'm using this as well as in RAW, I can actually go back and still get the full frame of the camera if I want. So I also took a picture without it. So if I want to, I can actually go back in and then recrop it again if I need to. So the clouds are only clearing a little bit right now, but there's still more cloud cover coming in. So although right now we do have some beautiful light on the backdrop, the subject itself is still very well shadowed right now. The sunlight is streaming through the clouds a little bit more, and it is starting to actually kind of hit my subject a little bit. So I'm just gonna quickly take a couple more pictures before I need to absolutely leave. All right, the sun now is actually starting to stream through the clouds a little bit more, and it is now starting to bathe the base of the tree. So I'm gonna take another photograph. So we've taken a few now, probably in the past 45 minutes to maybe about 50 minutes now. We've been waiting around for the light to change. I'm gonna look at the photos and see which one actually kind of pops a bit more, which one actually has more interest to it, to see how much difference the light actually makes to the subject. As this morning, everything was so diffused by the cloud cover that everything looked so evenly lit. It was a bit more natural, but now we actually have harsh sunlight coming in from certain angles. And actually kind of, not only is the background completely bathed in light now, but certain angles at the bottom of the tree, as well as a little bit of the foreground now too. But the problem is the foreground is really boring. It's just kind of like green grass, which has real no interest to it right now. If it were changing color a little bit, or if there was maybe a bit more like interest on the scene, it would absolutely be exciting. So I'm just punching in again to 80 millimeters, and I've leveled or angled up the camera just a little bit to incorporate more of the actual tree, like my subject, and a little bit less of the grass. We'll see how this one looks. So we're at f8, 1/80th of a second. You can see how the sunlight is actually hitting it from this side now. Thanks for stopping by the channel today, guys. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys again next week. Have a good one.